At 3 o'clock in the morning, a truck driver saw something on a dark highway that should not have been there. A child, a 9-year-old girl, walking alone in the middle of a storm. But that's not the part that makes this case disturbing. When he turned around to help her, she ran, not toward safety, but into the woods, into complete darkness. And she was never seen again. The question isn't just what happened to her. The question is, what made her leave in the first place? There are moments in life your brain refuses to process immediately. This was one of them. The truck driver didn't stop right away. Not because he didn't care, but because what he saw didn't fit reality. Children don't walk down highways at 3 a.m. They don't do it in storms. And they definitely don't do it alone. But she was there, and she was moving with purpose. That detail matters, because people who are lost hesitate. They stop. They look around. But she didn't. She kept walking forward, like she had already decided something. And that raises the first question in this story. Was she going somewhere? Or was she leaving something behind? Asha Degree was not a mystery before that night. Her life was simple, structured, predictable. She lived with her parents and her brother in a quiet neighborhood in Shelby, North Carolina. There were rules, bedtimes, expectations, and she followed them. She wasn't rebellious. She wasn't secretive. She wasn't searching for anything outside her home. Teachers described her as responsible, focused, quiet. The kind of child who did what she was supposed to do. The kind of child who didn't disappear. And then there's this detail. A detail that changes everything. Asha was afraid of the dark, afraid of storms. Think about that. Because the night she disappeared was filled with both. So now the story shifts. Because we're no longer asking what happened. We're asking something deeper. What could override fear in a child that young? Every case has a turning point. In this one, it's invisible. No one saw it happen. No one heard it. But it's the most important moment in the entire story. The moment she decided to leave. Because everything that followed depends on that decision. February 13th, 2000. A normal day. A normal evening. The family spent time together. Nothing unusual. Nothing out of place. At some point, the children went to bed. The house went quiet. Outside, the storm began. Wind pressed against the walls. Rain hit the windows harder. The power flickered, and at times disappeared completely. Darkness filled the house. Then light returned. Then darkness again. The kind of night that keeps children still, keeps them close, keeps them inside. But sometime after midnight, Asha woke up. No noise, no disturbance, no visible reason. She just woke up. And then she did something that doesn't match fear. She packed, slowly, carefully, deliberately, one item at a time. Placed into her bag. Clothes, personal belongings, things you don't take unless you believe you're going somewhere. Somewhere important. Somewhere planned. That's not panic. That's intention. And that changes everything. Because children don't leave like that by accident. The distance from her home to the highway wasn't small. This wasn't stepping outside. This was a journey. Through darkness. Through heavy rain. Through a night she was known to fear. And yet she kept walking. Step after step. Forward. And witnesses would later say something that continues to disturb investigators. She didn't look lost. She didn't look scared. She looked focused. Like she knew where she was going. Or believed she did. And if she believed she did, then someone may have given her that belief. And that brings us to a possibility investigators could never ignore. What if she wasn't running away, but going to meet someone? Multiple drivers saw her. Different people. Same description. Same location. Same impossible image. A child walking alone in a storm. But one detail changes everything. When someone tried to help, she ran. Not hesitantly, not confused, but immediately, directly, into the woods. Which raises a question that has never been answered. Why would a child run from help? Because a child in danger runs toward safety. Unless they believe something worse is behind them. Or something worse is coming. Search teams began combing the area as soon as she was reported missing. Time mattered. Every hour reduced the chances. They searched everything. Roads, wheels, and then they found something. A shed. Small, isolated, almost hidden. Inside, there were items. Candy wrappers, a hair bow, belongings believed to be Asha's. Evidence she had been there. That at some point during that night, she stopped. But this moment creates more questions than answers. Was she hiding, resting, or waiting? Because if she was waiting, then she expected someone. And if she expected someone, then she didn't leave alone in her mind. She left with a destination. For a long time, nothing changed. Leads came in, but nothing concrete. Until over a year later, something was discovered. A backpack, buried 30 miles away. Not dropped, not forgotten. Hidden. Wrapped in plastic. Preserved. That detail matters, because it means intention. Someone placed it there. Someone wanted it hidden. And inside were items belonging to Asha. Proof that this story didn't end on that road. Proof that someone else was involved. Because children don't bury their own belongings. Someone carried it. Someone made the decision to hide it. Investigators worked the case from every angle. Local police, state agencies, the FBI. Hundreds of interviews, thousands of leads. But the truth never surfaced. No confirmed suspect. No clear timeline. No explanation that fits. Just fragments, moments, and silence. But this isn't empty silence, where something happened and someone chose not to speak. Let's go back to the highway. 3:00 a.m. Rain. Darkness. A child walking alone. That moment is where everything connects. Because everything before it leads to it. And everything after it disappears from it. So the real question isn't just what happened next. It's what happened before. What made her step outside that door? What made her ignore fear? What made her walk into a storm? Because until you answer that, nothing else makes sense. There are only a few explanations. And each one fails in its own way. That she planned it. But why? That she was lured. But how? That someone saw an opportunity. But when? Every theory answers one question and creates two more. Because the truth in this case isn't hidden by complexity. It's hidden by absence. Something is missing. Something critical. And without it, the story never fully forms. More than 2 decades have passed. The road is still there. Cars still pass through it every night. The woods are still there. Dark, silent, unchanged. And somewhere, there is a person who knows exactly what happened. They remember that night, the rain, the road, the moment everything changed. And they've lived with that memory every single day since. The question is, why haven't they spoken? Because until they do, this story doesn't end. It just waits. Someone out there knows the truth. and they've stayed silent for over 20 years. If you knew what happened that night, would you come forward? Or would you keep it buried forever? Subscribe, because the next case might be closer than you think.